I just have one question. Where is the father? Why isn't the father involved in this? But then again, when I was that age, when I was in the corporate world, I didn't know any better.
And sometimes you are right, that critical question, where's the husband, where's the wife, right?
Mm-mm.
But maybe to really dive deeper to say, what kind of support do you have at home in order for you to have this success here in the organization? We may not be equal to everybody, but we can be definitely fair.
But in actual fact, is that really what we want? Is it just the promotion or something else that we can go through a conversation to talk about it and really discover what I want? It's more than just fairness and inclusivity here, is how we think. Hi, welcome to Empat Seibu, where we Ibus here, who are also corporate trainers, sit down here and talk about anything under the sky between the boardrooms and our family. So today, another very interesting topic we're going to explore. Something on, how should I call it? Fairness? Fairness? Maybe I
Fairness,
start
yeah.
with that first
Yeah,
as,
yeah.
as a word, fairness.
Mm.
Well, just 1 or 2 weeks ago was International Women's Day. And well, of course, this year is about give and gain, the theme. And as usual, there are a lot of talks about women. And I find it quite interesting if we could explore on this topic to link women to this word called fairness. Let me throw this. Let me throw the ball to Shireen, who has been in the corporate being a HR leader for many, many years. So, well, Shireen, anything that you like to start the ball rolling here?
Wow. I think, thanks, Lily, because I think we are still in the International Women's Day celebration. When you go out to the malls, you see all the hype still there, writing letters to the women that that have inspired you, etc., right? And if we were to go back to when many years ago how International Women's Day started and what sparked this entire movement as well, and it started with a lot of effort from the corporate side. Yeah, and with directly addressing the question that you asked about what's this fairness all about with women, and I think it's important for us to also bring up some tough topics, right, that we ourselves experience as women, on top of all the lovely celebrations and appreciation, right? I think it's important for us to talk of some of the not so nice things that
Yeah.
is still happening out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Already.
Yeah.
I know not to put, pour cold water over,
Yeah. I
over
think-
this wonderful celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree with you. I think in today's world, people are more receptive. In their opinion, in everyone's opinions, there is more fairness. We are doing our best for inclusivity, but sometimes, if let's say a person has existed 20, 30 years ago in the corporate side, even though right now we seem to be inclusive, but sometimes at the back of the mind, maybe there's still some biasness going on.
Yes.
So perhaps what we say might be a little bit uncomfortable, but let's just hope that we can just share. Share. Yeah.
Yes. And I think you brought out a great point there because we're sharing based on our experience.
Our experiences.
And it happens, and sometimes there are different outcomes as well. Yeah.
Agree.
And I think one of the biggest milestone that a woman has is when she starts a family.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yes.
After getting married and all that, then people want to start a family, and I think that's where many women, especially working women, whether you are in corporate or even you own a business, it's a pivotal point for you, right? You start to think of, will that affect my career? Will that affect my work? Will it affect my business? How will I juggle with everything? What's next, right? What will I need to sacrifice in that process as well? And, when I was in HR as well, right? So when we look at talented women, right, women who are growing in their careers, when this point in their life happens, right, there's a lot of decisions that need to be made. There's a lot of clarity that needs to come forward. Yeah, so sometimes that works positively, sometimes not so.
Yeah.
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 So I give you one very direct upfront example, right? So when a woman gets married, right, and you have a promotion that is you have a position, right?
Yeah.
A promotion for a person. And a lot of times I've seen, right, managers, people within the organization start to question, will she be ready for this promotion? How will she balance, now that she's married, I'm sure she needs to take care of her family, etc. Will she be able to give that same amount of commitment to the work? Right? Yeah, she's talented, she's great at her work, she's a high performer, but they will have this question.
Yes. Agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus if it's a guy, wow, he just got married, he's going to start a family, I'm sure he needs more money, right? Let's promote him. So I've encountered this conversation many, many times.
I see. So, what are some of the corporate practices when come to situations like this, and what are the general say among colleagues, among
Oh.
workers,
Yeah.
employees in a company,
Yeah.
when they know the decision of that promotion? How does that work? What do you experience?
Oh, that's a tricky one because it depends how the entire situation was being talked about, right? So, for instance, is there enough clarity to
Yeah.
understand what is these ladies or these employees next step? Right, so we have to have that conversation, that crucial conversation to say, all right, what's next for you, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, and we have to take that neutral stance there,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That life is happening around them, right? And they have the authority to decide for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Right? And I think it's important for us not to jump to conclusion based on our own experience. So that's where it comes to that fairness point, right? What is fair to you may not be fair for Anna, may not be fair to me. So we all have different filters and different bias that we have based on our experience, based on our culture, based on our, conditioning, and
Yeah.
even our value system.
Different situations among us. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you say, I think it brings the point in my mind about promotion, because sometimes you also hear about people or ladies saying that, oh, I don't want, people saying that, oh, I don't want the promotion, because like you say, different ways of how we look at promotion as well.
Yeah.
It could be something as an upgrade for someone. It could be sometimes extra work for another. So usually for women who actually come to stage like this, what are some of the common thought process go through in a woman's mind? Because to me, could be the growing up of the woman,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The employee,
yes.
the female employee thinking, oh yeah, I cannot take it because
Yeah.
I've seen who and who
Yeah.
cannot juggle it,
Yeah.
so I will put a stop here. So
Yes.
sometimes, like you say, without the conversation, we would not know whether the person itself
Yeah. Yeah.
wants to move forward or upward or not.
Yeah.
Is that how you experience also in corporate?
I think it's a journey for the employee, right? You automatically think that after A is B, after B is C, after D is E,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
after
Yeah.
exec, senior exec, and you just naturally think that you would want to climb that corporate ladder.
Yeah.
And I think workplace these days have also evolved.
Yeah, different, very
Yeah,
different
very
now.
different.
And there's the option of working from home.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks
correct.
to COVID.
COVID,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So, if I may, I think the first thing you mentioned was like the consideration of the managers or perhaps the HR in discussion. Will the person be able to manage it? With a new family. I just have one question: where is the father? Why isn't the father involved in this?
Okay.
Oh, I like that, no?
Yeah, why
I
are
go start the
we?
what is the father?
I mean, just checkmate. Where's the father? Isn't it a two-way thing, you know? But then again, when I was that age, when I was in the corporate world, I didn't know any better. I thought
Yes.
it's the norm for the lady to take the lesser role and stay at home. And perhaps to the traditional, I won't generalize, but then to the traditional people who were making the recruitment decisions, the promotion decisions, they may feel that they are doing a favor by passing over this promotion to
Yes,
another person,
yes.
because if they offer this promotion to a lady who just started a young family, the lady might feel difficult to say no. And they don't want to put the lady through that situation, and that's why they pass over. But notwithstanding that, the lady could feel very different. You see,
Yes. Yeah.
so having gone through what I've gone through, a close relative of mine had a young child. He was only about 1+, 2+, and she got her dream job in a multinational, earning like really, really mega bucks. And she said that she couldn't take the job because her child is young. And I told her, you must take it, because if you don't take it now, you don't know when it's going to happen. And this lady was in her mid-40s already. So, her working years, maybe another 15 years, and that's it. And she just started a young family. So I said, you must take it. Then she said that she had rejected the offer. I said, call them back and say that it just ask whether the offer's still on. Previously, I said no because I had some issues to resolve, and now that it's resolved, I'm ready for the job. And she took the job. She took the job, no regrets. But it also involved, because she's managing Asia Pacific region, so long hours, 10 o'clock at night, you're having your meetings and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But well, it's a give and take, because the husband has to play a role as well. I think that's only fair in marriages today. So I think
Yes,
it's very different from now and
Yeah.
previously. Yeah, I said it. I just quote one simple thing. I remember I think there was a board meeting, and I was involved in a board. I'm not a board member, but I'm involved in the meeting, and my GM was on the phone quite a number of times because the son was not well. And then my boss made this comment, where's the wife? Ask the wife to handle it.
Oh, okay.
And at that, I was 30 plus. At that point, I thought, yeah, that's normal. But today, if you ask me, I would have stood up for him and said, well, it's a two people job. Why can't he be involved? Why should there be a double standard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting point there, Anna. And I think that's where the conversation needs to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
We are not saying that it's it has to be this way or that.
Correct.
But each family is different, right? And we don't know the dynamics at home as well. Yeah. So I wouldn't jump into the conclusion to say that wife and husband
Yeah.
has this dual role, etc., and each family is different. But I think from a organization standpoint is also, hey, what is the chance that we are giving this employee, right?
Agreed.
And whether it is aligned, and what is it that we as an organization need to understand to support this person's career, not our vision of this person's career.
Yeah.
It's their vision of their career, right? And is to openly have that conversation so that people can think of what kind of support they need, what kind of resource they need, what kind of flexibility they may need, or adjustments that they need both at work as well as at home as well. Yeah. And sometimes you are right, that critical question, putting it so bluntly, right? Where's the husband? Where's the wife? Right? But maybe to really dive deeper to say, what kind of support do you have at home in order for you to have this success here in the organization?
Yeah.
We never ask this question. We just assume the person will know what they need to do.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
And
true.
oftentimes the backlash will come back to the organization where the person says, you know what, I think family still comes first. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that the struggle happens with this fairness that we try to establish within the
Yeah,
organization.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's enriching is that today's organization really take care of women. Yeah, and training is given, and I think they are really, from the organizations that I've trained also, they really support women growth and career development. So I see that. Uh, I wish I am 2030 now. I think
More
the
options.
needs, yes, so
More
much
options.
more. And I didn't know if I if I'm not around now, I didn't know it was possible
Yeah.
because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
You know, when I was younger, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And actually,
It
I
seems to be
Yeah.
like a very direct way. Okay, when I'm able, I get promotion.
Yes.
After promotion, like what you say, if we do not involve and look at the bigger context where family support and all these things needed to be there as well for the career, not just this promotion.
Yes.
Then after a while, all the backlashes will come in, and then
Yeah,
more
yeah.
problems for you to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually nowadays, if I may write on that as well, and what Anna said earlier, men are facing this as well these days, right?
Yeah, I was about to say that. Is this a woman thing?
Yeah, because now, whereby there is this, a little bit of a tango between men and women. And how do we make sure that both of them are treated as individuals, right? To them wanting that career that they want.
Yeah.
But of course, they will have their pros and cons, right? And they will have their own limitations as well.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of being, we may not be equal to everybody, but we can be definitely fair in considering their thoughts, considering their ambitions, and also considering their different phases in their life.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I think the other issue is a capability issue as well. Like, for example, although we want fairness, we want no discrimination, but then strength-wise, most women would be less
Yeah.
superior than men in
Yeah,
that sense.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
certain things, there's a capability issue also in that sense. So while we want certain things, we also have to see situations. But if I'm like full of muscles, I do everything, then I shouldn't be discriminated. Which is why, like there are women pilots, a lot of jobs that are dominated by men nowadays. You see quite a lot of women as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's very refreshing at how
You're right.
how-
I think
yeah.
I fully agree with what Shireen said. It's the conversation between, because somehow
The crucial
it's your promotion,
conversation.
it's
You are
your
right.
career.
Yeah.
Not looking at just this promotion, but looking at the career path.
Yeah.
And having that conversation is so crucial in a non-biased way.
Yes.
Both
Yeah.
parties who go into that conversation got to be non-biased too.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
think sometimes we women may carry certain thought process.
Yeah.
Maybe that conversation helps us to open up and see possibilities. It's not just a promotion or not, but I think it is
Exactly.
an awareness for us to know
Yeah.
ourselves better.
Exactly.
Likewise with company, having that kind of non-biased conversation is crucial to, again, not just look at this promotion. As I said, it's your career. If you are
Yeah.
here to develop this person, the consideration is more than just this promotion and this person in front of me. It involves the family as well, like you say, different phase of life.
Yes.
But one thing I find quite challenging working in organization is also the decision made for this particular promotee. Yes or no, it kind of like start to have the hearsay
Yes.
conversation in the company. Oh, she didn't get it because of what? Or
Yeah.
maybe he
Oh.
gets it because of what? I think because of that, we talk about culture, right? And because
Yeah,
of that,
yeah.
it does
Yeah.
tell people what kind of culture you have in the
Yeah.
organization. So looking at that context, what usually company does?
Okay, very, very
Deep question from
deep
you.
question. I wouldn't say it's a one-off thing that company does for just this particular, but you are right. It's the culture where it creates, right? And whether you are looking at facts or you're looking at feelings, right?
Yeah.
So this has to be addressed, right? So, when I was in HR, sometimes people will come and talk to me and say, is this the way in the organization, right? I hear this, etc. And I said, okay, so is it a fact or is it your feeling, right? Because something happened and has triggered a feeling in you. And where is this feeling coming from? Is it questioning your own capabilities and competencies?
Yeah.
Or do you have something in mind that you want to bring up that is valid for you? Yeah.
True, very
So
true.
it's always going back to that person. Why is this being raised? Right? Perhaps this person is looking at a different milestone in their life, or they are questioning certain values of themselves that may or may not be aligned with the organization anymore, or they themselves are having not enough support within their day to day.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
very,
it's-
very
yeah.
true.
So I think it's not just the organization to be able to have that, but the where is it coming from? Where is it stemming from? And I think in today's workforce, in today's modern day workforce, they are very aware, self-aware, and also environmentally aware. So it's not just a question of policy or procedures, but a question of conversations.
Yeah.
I like that.
And
I
then there's a
like
lot of transparency as well.
Oh, yes.
Because the employee today can chart their own growth. They can see where they are at. There's proper tracking. Yeah, I think that's a
yeah.
big difference.
Yeah, true. And all this that we talk about in an organization, I find we can't run away from having the same situation in family too.
Oh, yeah, of
Right?
course, of
Because
course.
it is a
family.
unit, it is a community, it's a family, which
Yeah.
involves the parents, the kids,
Yeah.
and oftentimes
Neighbors.
neighbors, you're right, the community gets smaller, taman.
Yes.
All the taman and
Yeah.
whatsoever, not, it's a big community here.
Yeah.
And having said that, so coming back to this topic on fairness,
Yeah.
right? We hear that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Between parents and kids. So Anna, what's your thought on this and your general view having 3 kids?
Oh, okay.
I have to
Wow,
highlight
wow,
that
okay.
having
That's a
3
tough
kids.
one.
So yeah, that's a tough one. As if you have 3 employees and
Yes,
then you
yes.
are the boss, and then you got taman people.
Yes.
You are the decision maker.
It's tough. It's really tough because like in my role, I climb up the corporate ladder quite fast, and in my role at that point, I'm always on call. It's like for example, I give birth today. The next day, everybody's calling me asking for information, documents, and all that. I went back 6 weeks instead of the previous 2 months. I went back. Yeah. So I think that I was okay with that. I would say that for me personally, at the end of the day, after my 3rd kid, I quit my job. Okay, because I felt that there's not much support and I need to be with my kids. So it was a willing decision that I have. I will share with you that as a mother, it's not easy because at that point in time, many organizations were not so ready. So, for example, my organization was going through some tough times. So we actually was in a rented unit for office. I couldn't breastfeed my kids because there's no facility. It was just the shared toilet or my boss's room, which is not possible, obviously. So I had to stop breastfeeding. And then when I did training, after that, when I was in training, there's no special room for breastfeeding as well. I had to go to the prayer room, the ladies' prayer room, factories, they are in factories. And the room is probably maybe
very small.
8 feet by 12 feet. And I will be at one side expressing myself and people will be performing their prayers. There's no fridges to keep. You have to bring your ice bag and everything. that as a mother, it's not easy. And like meetings, for example, always stretches very late. Corporate side stretch very
yes,
late.
yes.
So you can't say, oh, I can't attend the meeting because I need to go back home. You know, because certain jobs you just can't avoid it. Yeah, in that sense. So I think as a mother, it's difficult. But what's important is how I manage it was my networking of friends and the Taman people. So much so that all the mothers in the Taman, we group together. When my son, like as a trainer, you can't just say, oh, sorry, my son is sick, I need to go to the school. Because you've got people who paid their tickets from Sabah, Sarawak, Perlis, came over for training. So you can't cancel off, right? So I think my son has been picked up by relatives, by different people from my Taman, by best friends' parents, you know. So and vice versa. It really takes a community.
Yeah,
to-
yeah. My friends, I mean,
Yeah.
my friend once offered me as well. Say, Taman people, I'm okay to help you. But
Yeah.
I find myself quite challenging to open my mouth and seek for help under such circumstances when
Yeah.
picking up kids. Yeah. So, yeah, that's me. But I don't know, as Anna, you were sharing, in my mind, I'm just thinking about this question because you said you quitted your job when it came to your third child.
Yes, that's right.
And would that kind of like fairness thinking in their mind? They said, hey, ma, not fair. During my time, you work, you know. And then come to TT time, okay, you something
okay.
quite sensitive. When it comes to TT time, wow, you quit, then you see you got more time with you. What about me? Wow, I didn't have that time with you when I was younger. You were all about going to work, your career and all this. I think, yeah, it can be question like this, or it can be gender,
Yeah, okay.
female, male.
Yeah,
I
I
think
get
our
you.
time, the issue. So have you ever come across situation like this? And if so, how's your experience like?
Okay.
I'm just,
Interestingly enough, the first week I was after I quit my job, for the first week, I didn't know what to do with myself because I'm used to being so busy. I've got nothing to do. And then 1 week later, my two girls, one was 7, one was 3, they went up to the father and they asked the father this question: Papa, when is mommy going back to work?
They must miss you.
No. I think I was like a prison warden, asking them, eat your veggie, do this, do your homework. So they've had such a good life without me. I'm hardly around. So they have such a good life that they suddenly wish that I was back at work again. Yeah. In fact, yesterday, because now it's like the downtime of training because of Chinese New Year, Ramadan. Yesterday, my son asked me, Mommy, when are you going back to work? I had the thinking that maybe my kids like me to go back to work. Yeah, so
I
it
see.
there was never a question where I preferred the younger brother. That's why I quit my job. No, I think
Circumstantial.
personally for me, I've always felt bad not being able to be there for my kids. So having 3 kids was like an opportunity for me to now hang up my apron and now do stuff for the kids. But of course, that didn't come easy because as a young family, we were also financially challenged. So yes, you can survive on single income, but there's not much backup. So because of that, I did training, and and since then I've been a sole proprietor in the training side. Yeah, we still need the double income because I
Yeah.
think that it's very stressful if only one party is earning income. Yeah, in that
I
sense.
see.
So
Yeah.
what you want and when reality sets in is different.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh
We
yes.
just have to remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only for those who have gone through the journey, you know what
Yeah.
reality is all about.
Yeah.
What about you,
Yeah.
Shireen? Having 2 boys, would they have, because both also boys, ma?
Yes, but
Would
the
they
age
have
gap is
challenge?
big, right?
Huh?
Yeah.
The age gap is big, right? The
yeah,
Coco and the Titi, right? So,
yeah.
are there any instances where they raise this unfair,
Unfairness.
injustice issue to you, and how do you handle it as a mother?
Okay, so I think one very big difference was my eldest one went to Kebangsaan school,
Right,
right?
right.
And he went through the whole rigor of SPM, and then PMR got cut and things like that. But my younger one, when he was supposed to start school, it was smack in COVID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And at that point in time, with COVID and all that, I was also working from home, right?
Right.
So it was a big struggle within the family because both boys now have to be online, and then you're not sure what they are doing. It's the first time they are studying online, and we are also first time working online.
Yeah.
So there were too many changes, and I think it wasn't a fair or not fair, but it was very circumstantial, right?
Right.
So we took the decision to put him in a private school simply because, we need a more structured approach for him at
Right.
home. Yeah, because even the government schools were struggling with intake and getting people to study online,
Yeah,
right? Teaching
yeah.
online. But along the way, it brought up this question on fairness as well, right? So, and one of the biggest things I think with kids nowadays is how come Coco got iPhone 17 Pro Max, and I
Oh,
don't even have a
compare.
phone, okay? So, and I always go back to what is it that you need, right? And whether you have earned it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
So, like for instance, my eldest one, of course, he's 20. He manages his own time and screen
Yeah.
time, etc. But my young one is only 1 hour on screen time, right? There is a limit there because he hasn't earned more than that, right?
Yes, yes.
He hasn't put in his time and
okay.
he doesn't understand that concept yet, right? So, we as parents we try to be fair and we can actually succumb to the guilt of I think Gen Alphas are very smart at manipulating parents.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Very, very
Let me
smart.
take note of that.
Yes.
Alpha, very-
And they write and they have enough exposure to understand the guilt that we parents face.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
So be strong, I always have this vision, right? If I am not doing the right thing today for him and he doesn't learn from it, 20 years down the line, I pity his boss lah, who has to manage the outcome of my poor
You are truly a
parenting.
HR person.
Of my poor parenting. So, or his future wife or his children, right? So I think about it that way. And I try to tell him that, hey, if you don't know how to handle this now, how are you going to do this one day with your son, with your children? And then he looked at me, my 12 years old, why you think so far?
Yeah, you think very far. You think
Yeah,
about his
yeah,
future
that's
work and then
very
his
far.
boss, his company.
Yeah, so that's how I see it lah. What about you, Lily?
Yeah.
I don't know because one thing as both of y'all were talking,
Yeah.
right, I suddenly realized, our group not very inclusive leh. Because the struggles that y'all shared just now, I could relate it fully because I also wear that lens coming from a woman's perspective, right?
Yeah.
So I
Right.
said, oh yeah, so true. Wow, so true. So true. Although I've got only one kid. But what I want to say is yeah, I think first and foremost, something I just realized, maybe next time we should do empat seayah or empat ayah ibu, that kind of thing. So it's fair.
But I think it's a good point that
I'm
you brought up.
imagining
Yeah.
my husband coming here.
Yes, yes, yes,
I
correct.
think yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it's very true, right? It's in real life because today whatever we women are supposedly facing are being faced by men as well.
Of course.
right?
Yes.
So,
Today.
but no one is talking about it for men, right? No one is addressing, for instance, the burden that a man has to try to bring the bacon home, right?
Yeah.
And the pressure that they face in trying to climb that corporate ladder, right? Because he wears the pants,
Yeah.
right? He wears the pants at home, so since you're wearing the pants, you better do it lah.
Correct.
Right?
I think that also depends on mindset and acceptance.
And the culture that they are in as
Culture.
well.
Okay. We can say a lot of things. We can say, hey, it's okay if the woman works and the man looks after the house. We can say that. But if you have a daughter, do you want your daughter to marry a guy who's not working and she's working to feed the guy?
Wow.
See?
Okay.
When you
Sense
ask-
there is some
Right?
imbalance.
Sometimes,
yeah.
Our own bias.
Our own bias, right?
That-
Our own bias.
Yeah, that is what I think many people will struggle with.
Yeah.
And this is the conversation I have with all my 3 kids.
Yeah,
Which is valid.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I say that, of course, I ask my son, do you mind if next time you look after the house and your wife, works? He said, yeah, sure. I would love that. Okay. So
mm.
I told my daughters also, like, there'll come a time where this might happen. And I quote her a few examples of close friends we have that's like that. And you know what? It's perfectly normal. But the main thing is you need to be able to accept it. Because as a lady, if you can't accept it, there will always be friction. Because if the lady still thinks that the guy brings back the bacon, then there will always be friction. Yeah.
Very interesting. And now, as you are talking about the scope becomes bigger, but as the scope becomes bigger, it seems that everyone in this scene within this scope also has some level of biasness.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
yes,
And
because it's our conditioning.
Yes,
Indian
yes.
culture is different.
Oh,
Chinese
yeah,
culture
oh,
is
yeah.
different.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in the city, the culture is different. If you are in suburb,
Exactly.
the culture
Yeah,
is different.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think
There's-
it's
yeah.
very complex because one of the jokes
there's
I
no right
used to
or
tell
wrong
is
answer in this. Yeah.
many bosses or leaders these days, many of the people will say, oh, youngsters these days, they all cannot take hard work one, give them a little bit tough job, sure they resign one. So I think sometimes as a boss, as a leader, we make these remarks to the one who joined the company, the younger ones. But go back home when they are kid of the same age, tell them, Papa, my boss like that, quick lah.
Yeah, quick.
So isn't that
Yes. Double standard. Yeah.
like I said, it's bias
yeah.
everywhere. It is in us. It is in
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
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 Ah,
It is.
wow.
It is
So
in
in
us.
fact, it started like you talk about conditioning. I remember very well when I was young, my growing up stage. I always felt it's so unfair that my mom gave all the best to my brother, and I didn't get the equal treatment.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah. And
because
I
I'm the
always-
youngest.
You're the youngest,
I always secondhand things.
Oh, dear, I thought youngest is the okay bias. I thought youngest always is the one that your parents will
pampered,
sayang,
yeah.
pamper. Ayo, I envy the youngest man. Bias.
Yes. It's that bias that we have. Right?
Yeah. And I fought so hard to get the fair treatment, so-called fair treatment in my mind, to get the things I want. So, but now really think back, the biasness can actually come from me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It comes from me, like you said just now. I myself couldn't accept. In fact, the things I think back, the things that my mom got for my brother, the amplifier lah, the music, the TV lah, the badminton racket. Actually, I also didn't want that thing.
Yeah.
But why am I fighting so hard to say I also want badminton racket? How come he got this? How come I don't have?
Yeah.
Fighting for that thing for justice. Just
Yeah,
as-
yeah.
I would
For
rather I have
justice.
others, right?
Yeah.
I mean, ask for the sake of asking it
Yeah.
because I find it's not fair deep
Yeah.
inside me.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I think as it's normal to compare, right, and say that I also want that to be fair to everyone, right? But
Yeah.
the question is probably to understand that if this bias comes up, right, we don't act on the bias, and that's where if you act on the bias, then it becomes discriminatory.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. Just
yeah.
like promotion. I think now
Yes.
I think of it now, the promotion in the company, everybody think promotion is good, ma. Just like when during my time, I think the badminton racket that brother got is the best in the world. The running shoes he got, so I want that. But in actual fact, is that really what we want?
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
just the promotion
Yeah.
or something else that we can go through a conversation to talk about it and really discover what I want? I think it's more than just fairness and inclusivity here. It's
Yeah.
how we think, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe, for example, it could be that if your parents had asked you, what do you like? And you have a choice to tell them what you wanted,
Oh yeah.
then you wouldn't feel, or the feeling of why your brother got certain things wouldn't be so amplified in that sense.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
You know?
Oh yes. Yes.
If they ask you, do you want a racket as well? or why do you want it? Do you even like badminton?
Yeah. It was amplified also after that when I see my brother play with that badminton racket. He won the game. It must be the badminton racket. Just like
Yes,
promotion.
yes.
Wow, he got it. Wow, then after that he got another promotion. Yeah, must be because of that.
Yes,
Da, da, da.
yes.
We add on the salt
Yeah.
to ourselves
Yeah,
because of
our
whatever
own.
that we think in our
Yeah.
mind here, which does not serve any
Yeah.
good to ourselves.
If you look at it on a positive note, it make you very driven and competitive. I mean, it can do that because then you say, you know what, next time when I grow up, I'm going to make enough money to buy my own and be even better. Sometimes you look at it as that's the point that push you forward. Yeah, could be that as well.
Yeah. Could be something I gained. I think I also learned along the way.
Yeah.
It wasn't at that point of time, but of course, I think as I age and becomes a little bit more wiser, we look at belongings, we look at the
Yeah.
things we own, and in a different light.
Yeah.
So, like you say, you may have. You may not have the badminton racket, but maybe what you get is tennis racket lor.
Yeah, or ping pong.
Or ping pong or whatever lah. There are something else that come in
Yes.
another way is how you look at it in a bigger context to get yourself out from that biasness in you.
Yeah.
Or else I find it is a mindset in us that we start to
Yes.
compare each and every single thing that even as we grow up, even as we
Yes.
age and all this
Agreed.
thing, because
Yeah.
tend to compare becomes a norm in us in
Yeah.
everything we do.
Yeah.
So that's even more dangerous.
Yes.
So I think if everyone can just do a little bit more to be less biased in their personal opinions and thinking, I think things can move forward faster for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as usual, we are almost at the end of our podcast today. Any final thought that you have that you'd like to share with the viewers before we close the session on this very tough and yet interesting topic?
Yeah, it is quite I mean, we can explore so many areas and it's,
Yeah.
multifaceted. But I like what Anna brought up just now, and you also mentioned it, Lily, where you talk about that double standard, right? That double standard. And I think we all have it in us.
Yeah.
But essentially is to take a step back, pause, take a step back and look at what is it for you, right? What's
Exactly.
your role in it? Yeah. So
Yeah.
for instance, Anna, you have this tough conversation with your daughter about what if her husband doesn't work
Yes.
and things like
And
that.
my son,
Yes,
Yeah.
and with your son as well. I think the micro question that we need to dive a little bit deeper is also like the outcome of it, right?
Yep.
So if your husband is not working, will he make the decision on who's buying the color of the car?
Yeah, true.
Will he make the decision on
Okay.
the travel
Right.
tickets, right? Because you're earning, and does he still wear the pants? So I think we need to dive a little bit deeper. I think we have a lot of this awareness, but we don't go deep enough to see what it impacts us on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
So my key takeaway is something I also realized in these few years is to really dive a little bit deeper into the difficult topics that we have, whether it's at corporate, whether it's with our families, whether it's our communities, to unfold some of these thought processes
Yeah.
before the action.
Yeah.
Because on surface it looks okay, right? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't mind if my husband works at home. He takes care of the house.
Yeah. Incorporate. Congratulations for the
Congratulations,
promotions.
for the promotion, right?
But in my
hey,
heart,
if you need to buy a family car and he wants a white car and you want a red car, does he get a say in it?
If it's his car, definitely he gets a say lah.
His car, yeah. But if it's a family car,
It's okay lah. It's just color only.
question mark. Question mark. You get a polka
Again.
dot car.
you are right. Again, half does not
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
fair, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
it depends whether you mind or not lah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
If you're the type who mind, then yes, you might insist a certain color. If you don't mind, then
Yeah.
So,
So
I
I
think
think
it
the
depends on the dynamics.
and
Yeah.
also to help our circles to think a little bit deeper. That
Yeah.
it's not always just fine on the surface, or it's just a black and white decision. There's so many layers to it.
Yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, as we talk more and more, as we get deeper, actually find the scope that we can actually talk about it for 2-3 hours.
Yes,
Yeah,
What
yes.
about you? And now, what's your thought before we close the session? What is your takeaway? What's your thought now?
Okay, I think in terms of relationship, whether you're married or not, I think I ask my children this question, like, does he make you happy?
Oh.
If it makes you happy, then great. Yeah,
Mm,
that's the most important thing. Yeah, like belongings, all that, it comes and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Materials.
yeah, does he make you happy or does she make you happy?
mm,
Is the relationship worth investing in? If it is,
mm,
go ahead. Yeah, so I think there's no two way. Like, for example, I'm still traditional in certain ways, so and that's okay,
Yeah,
as
that's
long as my
okay.
family accepts it. Yeah, you know. So I think it really depends on the family dynamics. But I always question myself when I find myself having double standards. I will ask these questions: if it's my own kids, will it be okay? You know, or if my own family does it, will I be okay with it? Then at least, even if I still have double standard, I can start to understand the other party's point of view and be more accepting.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. For me, I would say the point that you talk about just now, about it makes me better. Maybe it was something needed at that point of time to to fight for it, right? So
Yeah.
it becomes it kind of like a shape my character to be maybe stronger and all this, which helps me today. So having said that, just having a sense of gratitude
Yeah.
for what I experienced before, although it was deemed as unfair then, but just a sense of gratitude of, yeah, if it is not because of that, I wouldn't be who I am today. So there are some of the non timely thinking pattern which may fit at that point of time, but more willing to let go it now and move on. So that would be my take for today.
Yeah.
All right.
Gratitude.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
and thank you for
you.
watching Empat Seibu.
Okay.